Well, you can see it's 1545 35th Street. This is a listing by my pal, Russell Firestone. We've been friends for years, and he's a great agent. I bring it up because I showed this last week, and it just really captured my imagination. It's a farmhouse. And when you look it up on the old maps from like the 1870s, you see that there was this farmhouse, another farmhouse. It's just crazy how open this area was late till the 19th century and the early 20th century. The other thing that really struck me about it when I researched this house is how many military men, significant military men, lived here. So there was Captain Sharp, who was like a real player in the Battle of Manila Bay. This is a guy who was the attaché to Teddy Roosevelt when Teddy Roosevelt was like an undersecretary in the Navy. So Teddy Roosevelt's going to go off and form the Rough Riders. This guy says, no, I want to stay in the Navy. So he gets a yacht, and he ends up fighting in the battle, all these big ships doing their thing, and he's zipping around in this yacht. Shortly after that, during World War II and during the Truman administration, you have Robert Patterson, who's the Undersecretary of War and the Secretary of War, who was also a decorated warrior during World War I. Frederick Boy, this is interesting. He was the president of the class of 1915, which was Eisenhower's class, and they seemed to be pals, so I bet you Ike spent some time here. The class of 1915 at West Point, they said the stars fell heavily upon them because 67 members of the class ended up being general officers during World War II. General Signius, who lived here in the 70s and 80s, a guy who kind of made the transition from military man to diplomacy. He was involved in the Paris peace talks in Vietnam. He was part of NATO. So all of this was just these military man after military man. And the interesting piece about that is that's not specific only to this house. This is something that I find in my research all the time in the 20th century Georgetown. The military is like evenly distributed amongst the whole town, and not just living here, but their families. They're fully integrated. They're in the social pages. It's a very interesting part of Georgetown history that they just don't see a lot today, but I think it's important to note.